Namaste, Suswagatam, and welcome to our Sunday edition of Gyan Ganga Words of Wisdom on our various social media channels, which we beam simultaneously at 8 p.m. Indian Standard Time. Today, we have an important discussion on a very subject, the plight of Hindus in Bangladesh and India's policy. And next 45 minutes, Dr. SUBRAMANIAN SWAMY and the team will be discussing this very important issue. I have to thank our globers across the globe, viewers across the globe, for the support we get. Our last Sunday, we could not have a program, but the Sunday before that, we had a discussion on the Indian economy and the budget, and we had a viewership of 99,804 viewers across the globe. So we thank our viewers across the globe for their support Sunday after Sunday. We thank you, viewers, and we request you, viewers, to subscribe to our YouTube channel of Virat Hindustan Sangam. And with these words, it is over to Dr. SUBRAMANIAN SWAMY.
Thank you, Jagdish. This is, in one sense, a very complicated issue because so many things have happened, so many parties have, so many countries have got involved, and something that we never expected. First of all, let me say that Sheikh Hasina had ruled the country for about 15 years. And of that 12 years, she was a great economic success. And she had in fact put India behind, well behind in, say, something like producing clothes and so on. The textile industry was something that they went very far ahead, and they were more or less self-reliant. They were not reliant on India, but there was in the case of Sheikh Hasina and of course her late father, they had a soft corner for India because we came and helped Bangladesh to be formed. The Indian army had gone and separated East Pakistan, and that became Bangladesh. So there was this strong feeling in favor of India, and that is something which rankled many countries in the world, particularly those who were against India. I'll come back to that a little later. But the Islamic rigid movements, the rigid society, the rigid parties, all these, they decided to step up the thing as Hindu versus Muslim, which was never there in East Pakistan and then later on in Bangladesh. So this was a created issue. And that created issue is what has been the foundation of what has happened. I would say that in the last 3, 4, 5 years, maybe not more than 5, but certainly more than 3, Hasina had become a sort of perceived as a person who is dependent on India for her internal security, and that false impression, unfortunately, fueled the thing, and then her economics began to falter. The real cause of the rise of the youth in Bangladesh was entirely due to the failure of economics. I mean, literally, the economic policies being followed somehow didn't click as used to click before. There were other factors also. Corona had a big impact on many of the things that were damaged. For instance, the textiles got damaged in the textile exports got damaged. So I would say that the unemployment that created, and therefore the youth began to feel that. And that's basically the fodder on which some forces have been active. It's surprising to me that not only China and Pakistan, But even the United States, for some particular reason, which has not been made clear in our media, and I have been also trying to find out, maybe our Ramesh, who lives in the United States, can tell us better. But I would say that the United States was certainly certainly a factor which surprised all of us, and in a sense, it meant that almost the total international strength, with China being against India, the Pakistan being against India, and then the United States in support of all the uprising that was taking place, and they were seemed to be annoyed with her, with Sheikh Hasina. So that is the core on which this whole thing burst. Now, the question basically that we are today facing is how do we get around this? And I don't think that at this stage now we have missed the bus. We could have had our Indian Army go in at an early stage, maybe 3 months ago. But that somehow Modi seems to be very weak when it comes to foreign issues. On China, for example, the Chinese have come into Ladakh and taken over 4,000 square kilometers of Indian territory, which is undisputed Indian territory. And he has done nothing about it. In fact, he doesn't even allow the media to publish anything. He's put a ban on it, which is totally ridiculous. Of course, I've gone to court on it and I'm trying to get the ban removed. But the fact is that this is what has happened. I think we will have to also say that the way that the Modi government has been dealing with Bangladesh is, sort of a lackadaisical way, not realizing that there was this fuming thing. And as I said, the economic collapse has led to the youth to come out on the streets. And then naturally foreign money came in, so many other things have happened. And for us, it's a situation we have to look at the total perspective. Is Nepal with us? No. Is Bhutan with us? No. Is Sri Lanka with us? Well, I mean, Sri Lanka, I would say, thanks to me, there is some balancing there. Is Maldives in our favor? No, not at all. We are going and blowing and scraping there before the Maldivians to appear to have good relations. But the fact is, they have thrown out all our troops, which we had been invited earlier to a place in Maldives. It has all been pushed out. So India's foreign policy has been a complete failure in dealing with our neighbors. And that is something that needs to be now seriously taken up by the BJP if we are going to protect ourselves, because this can now become a national security issue for us. So what I would say is that we need now to prepare a situation where we may have to use our Navy, and we have great advantages, and we should wait for a little time for the present government to not be able to do what Sheikh Hasina has been accused of not doing, and that is to improve the economy. And if the economy doesn't improve, I think India will have opportunity to send in our troops, and we have to, because the Hindus who are there, they chose to live in Bangladesh, and like the Muslims in India who chose to live in India. And they should be protected from being butchered. The brutality with which the Hindus have been treated by these mad mob that came, targeted them. After all, at no stage the Hindus have taken any side on anybody. Yes, Sheikh Hasina was nice to them, so they were nice to her. But the fact is that the Hindus played no political role as such in Bangladesh. So why were they targeted? And this appears to me is where the Pakistani hand is there. they have ignited hostility towards the Hindus, and that's something that we have to look at. So, total, I would say, India should now start working. I'm not saying now doing it, but working for a military strike inside Bangladesh at a time when we are ready and prepared to do it. We seem to be running away from everywhere. China has come in, we have not used our military. In fact, the Chinese said, get back, and got back. We moved back, and the Chinese have occupied 4,000 square kilometers they have taken, which is undisputed territory, belong to India. They have taken it. And so my view is that on the moral issue, on the moral plane, we have to do something first. And I think that Sheikh Hasina should go back to Bangladesh. I'm sure that the government of Bangladesh and the whole international world would not like to see Sheikh Hasina to be butchered or killed, murdered, whatever. She will probably be put in jail if after the normalization of the government takes place. After that, if she goes with Indian support and Indian making it clear that this is something which in the national interest as well as in human rights question, she should be allowed to be back to her own home. And if she goes to jail, from jail she will become a force. I don't know how long, it may be not very long, I think, given the circumstances. But her opponent, who was the earlier on the president of Bangladesh, she was in jail for 15 years, and that's a very sad thing. She's also in bad health now. But I think overall we have a very complicated situation. Concluding, I would say, what should India do? Well, India has missed the bus for the time being. India should mass troops in the three areas where the Bangladesh border is. There are three parts to it: one in the northern Bangladesh, one in the eastern Bangladesh with India, and the western Bangladesh with the northeast of India. So India should now move to troops there, and the terrain is ours. I don't think anybody can challenge us there, and have it ready on the border. And then she should go in there, and with the help of the United Nations, we should create an atmosphere where she's allowed to come back to her country. And if they put her in jail, they better have some, the charge sheet should be very clear, and we should provide her with all the legal support that we can. And then over a period of time, as the government which has taken over fails to economically improve, which I think they will be, because none of them have a clue of an idea of what needs to be done to the economy. That is the time India should react. But for that, we need a strong leadership in our own country. Presently, with the way Modi has behaved with all the countries which have been taunting us is very, very sad. Even Maldives has told India where to get off. China, of course, has eaten parts of India which are undisputed parts of undisputed Indian territory. They have gotten. Similarly, Pakistan is sitting on Kashmir. So, I mean, we are really basically a situation where we as 1.4 billion people and GDP, which is third largest in the world, should be in this kind of a situation where we have no clear, because the kind of people who are today in office along with Narendra Modi in the foreign ministry, in the defense ministry and all, they are not people who are in a mood to be aggressive in defending our national interests. So that's the biggest take out of what has happened in Bangladesh. We have suddenly been shown that we are an important lot. We can't defend our interests. This has to change. And within our own country also, we need to have people who speak very strongly for restoring Bangladesh to democracy. And to protect the Hindus, we could go to any extent from India, because they are being targeted as Hindus. They are not being targeted as people who are belonging to one party or the other. They're being targeted as Hindus. And if India cannot defend the Hindus, who can defend it? And then no government deserves to be in power if it is not ready to defend the Hindus in any part of the world, but particularly which are on the border of India. Over to you, Jagdish.
Thank you, Dr. Swamy, for those opening remarks and your insight on the Bangladesh issue. Dr. Swamy, I want to know, when periodically or from the time India got its freedom and freedom from British rule and East Pakistan was created, the Hindu population has been going down. Somewhere it was about 22%, if I'm not mistaken. We did show on our screen the chart, but now it is hovering between 7.5% to about 8%. Can't India think of a long-term policy of these minorities who are minorities in Bangladesh, how to see that they are not driven out or they are protected? Can't India, as a big country around this region, think of protecting these Hindus in this region?
It can't be done by going to the United Nations. It can't be done by writing letters to the Bangladesh government, for example. It has to be a demonstration where we impact the Bangladeshis to know that if India gets angry, then there's nothing to stop them. I give you an example. Look at the map of Bangladesh. The northern part has a little piece which looks like the head of somebody, and from one part of that is Bengal to Assam, if you were to draw a straight line, that head part will become get cut off from the Bangladesh government's control. And that, if you take, it will be a huge benefit for India in terms of at the moment we have to go around that, which means the thin piece between Bangladesh and the mountains, and from Sikkim, for example, and then come through that and then go to Assam. If we want a railway to put a railway, which we have, it has to go through that procedure. And if that portion we take as a retaliation, not just because we wanted to take it, but as a retaliation, if there was an occasion for retaliation, and if it was a retaliation that you take that piece, India will gain hugely in terms of national security. And after that, Bangladesh will be indefensible for the people, the military of Bangladesh, or the police of military, or the mobs of Bangladesh. So these are things that have to be planned, and they have to be planned with great seriousness. But judging by the fact that Modi is not able to ask the Chinese to get out, I don't think he is equipped mentally to defend India in a serious way. That's how I see all these things all adding up, whether it's Bangladesh, whether it is Kashmir, whether it is even Uttarakhand. There is the incursion of the Chinese. The Chinese have incurred in northeast. They are come and near Sikkim. So many places that we are finding that our national interest is not being taken seriously as a way we should with the use of our military.
Ramesh, you have your next question.
Jagdishji, I have Dr. Swamy in the beginning mentioned about the US's role. Dr. Swamy, I just have 2 points to make. This is whatever coup or whatever happened, in my view, is not something that happened to me, accidentally, or something that was not planned. In June of last year, the US had sent a warning to Bangladesh, and they said they will revoke visas for some of the senior officials of the government because they were saying that they were not conducting a free and fair election. So this seed has been sowed, Dr. Swami, more than a year ago by the US in some extent. I think it also got aggravated a little bit because there is a port in Bangladesh. I think, if I'm not mistaken, it's called the Sonadia port. This has been a bone of contention because this is a deep port, and the US has been very keen on putting up a port there. China, in fact, back in 2014-15 timeframe, said that they will offer $50 billion and build the port for Bangladesh. And Bay of Bengal has been a very crucial, has become a very crucial, naval issue, even for the US, because what China is doing today. These two factors, Dr. Swami, strongly suggest that there is definitely a US hand in whatever is happening in Bangladesh. The third factor, Dr. Swami, as soon as this happened, US kind of welcomed this so-called coup or protest and saying that it's all for democracy and we support the current interim government. There was no need for that to happen. And sadly, in this crossfire, a lot of Hindus have been trapped, and now they have nowhere to go. And as you earlier clearly mentioned, the lack of lack of reaction, or rather even in the level of incompetence shown by the Indian government in not reacting and protecting those lives. We don't know how many lives have been lost, Dr. Swami. How many children have been kidnapped or raped or killed? We don't know how many people have been killed, because all of this is speculation that we have today. And most surprising part, the Indian media is not discussing this as a serious crisis, but rather showing a blame game and not pointing a single finger at this current government for their incompetence. With this crisis in Bangladesh, Dr. Swami, I want to ask, what is the need for the foreign minister to go to Maldives? Is that crucial? It is kind of head scratching for me, because here you are on one side, on a bordering your country, maybe hundreds of thousands of Hindus are getting killed, and you're just going and having a bonhomie with another state or another country which kind of ditched you and kind of treated you very badly when they aligned with China. So I mean, I'm at a loss, Dr. Swami, as to either this government has no priorities at all when it comes to foreign policy, or they are completely misplaced. I mean, they're like a headless chicken. Since you mentioned the chicken neck, so I'm just taking that and putting it in. So basically, that it's become a headless chicken now. And sadly, the Hindus are going to continue to suffer, and we have no clue. In as much, the Prime Minister has not even expressed his anguish that these so many Hindus are getting killed in Bangladesh. He just said, "Oh, we welcome the new government. We hope that they protect all minorities." It's such an insipid statement, Dr. Swami. This is just crazy that it could be. I mean, they are your former people. They are Hindus. They have been going back. I mean, they are your neighbors, and for all practical purposes, as Jagdish ji highlighted earlier, dramatically reduced from 20-30% to a minor fraction today. And all you had to do was tell the Bangladesh government, because but it's such a small government. You could just say, you know what, I'm going either protect them or I'm going to send my army. They're going to listen to you. Why is this government so afraid to put its foot down? Because there was one question that was raised: what will the US impose sanctions if India sends the army in? So that's where I want to end my comment. Your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I would like to respond before Arvind gives us his analysis. See, first of all, if the Hindus are attacked, I think no Indian government should just give speeches or express agony and so on. They should do something specific. As I gave you the example, cut off the what you call as the chicken neck. That's very easy to do. Just go across. It's a one single line, and that the whole thing can be chopped off and be made part of India. Or you do some other way, but you can't convince a mob that by arguments. They have picked on the Hindus for no reason at all. The Hindus were not involved. in the whether Sheikh Hasina should be the president of the Bangladesh or not. It was the Muslims of Bangladesh, the Bengali Muslims, who decided these things. And a group now thinks that this is the time to go after the Hindus. That's ridiculous. That's because the feeling that India will do nothing. That feeling has to go. And this is just on our border. I'm not talking about going to Vietnam, or I'm not talking about going to some faraway country to save your national interests. I'm talking about saving your own people who are there. And Bangladesh was a part of it was created by India. It was not created by the Muslims of Pakistan, or Muslims of the then undivided Pakistan. The Indian troops, when Indian troops died, Indian troops liberated, Indian troops gave 1 crore Bangladeshis to stay in India in sanctuary when they came running out from there. And this same set of people lacking any sense of to recognize this thing that we have done for them, and instead of that they are falling upon defenseless Hindus. I think this, we cannot watch this. It's too much. Narendra Modi has been watching this everywhere. He has been watching with China in Ladakh, with Mauritius. The
Maldives.
islands.
Maldives.
Maldives, yes. Maldives. He has been doing it. Only thing that has been relatively successful is Sri Lanka, but the Sri Lanka government of India did nothing. It was Rajapaksa and myself who sat together and worked out a way by which the sanity could be preserved. So therefore, I would say today, what the Indian people should do, instead of saying what should the Bangladeshis do and what should the Hindus do, only thing that has to be decided is Parliament asks Mr. Modi, do you have a plan or you don't have a plan? And if you have a plan, we don't mind if it takes 6 months or 1 year, but tell us what is the plan, what are you going to do? That even our opposition is not doing. Why is the opposition being so pussyfooting on this issue? They should have said the Hindus are being butchered, and they are being selected and butchered, raped. All that horrible things are happening because they are Hindus. Yeah, I mean, what wrong have these Hindus done? So therefore, I think the whole focus, everything now is on Modi. Either you perform or get out.
Sorry, Dr. Swami.
Yeah, Arvind, you want to ask your next question before I take some questions of the viewers?
Before I go into the issue of one part of the issue of the plight of Hindus in Bangladesh, let me tell you, I have maintained for some time that Bangladesh has been target of some Western developed countries for quite some time now. And it is because of the great economic progress. In fact, the economic progress of Bangladesh in the last 15-20 years, Sheikh Hasina was there for 15 years. During this period, Bangladesh has progressed from a poor country, much poorer than India in terms of per capita income. They have crossed the per capita income of India. They have become the 35th largest economy in the world. And in PPP terms, they are 25th. And therefore, they have been target of this developed world, how to stop Bangladesh from progression. In fact, even in last 10 years, the compound annual growth rate of Bangladesh has been highest in Asia, higher than China, higher than India. And therefore, this part of the jealousy because of this progress. Now, I'm not going into whether China played a role into this violence or US played a role into the violence. But the issue is the economic progress which Bangladesh has made, it was a target. And this target is because the Muslims in Bangladesh are not grateful to India. Dr. Swamy, you mentioned just now in 1971 when Bangladesh was created in the war from Pakistan, uh, uh, Hindus sacrificed. Large number of Hindus sacrificed their lives in the 1971 war, and they should be grateful for Indian Hindus. Of course, when we say Indian Army, I should not divide Indian Army into Hindus and Muslims. Both Hindus and Muslims and all religious people participated in the war, but a large number of Hindus sacrificed. And what is now being seen in Bangladesh, that Hindus are being made target, their temples are being burnt, the pujaris are being butchered, the women have been raped. Now the same kind of thing which Pakistan army did in 1971 in Bangladesh, the Muslims are doing now to their Hindu brethren, which is a matter of concern. And Dr. Swamy, you said nobody is speaking. I'm surprised even BJP people are not speaking. Baba Ramdev has spoken, you have spoken, and surprisingly only one person in BJP who has raised his voice, and that is Adityanath Yogi. And Yogi Adityanath has only expressed surprise that why people are not speaking in favor of Hindus in Bangladesh. And he made a statement that since there are no vote bank, those Hindus in Bangladesh will not come and vote any party here. Therefore, they're not raising the issue. They're not concerned about it. And then you also asked Dr. Swamy why opposition parties are not speaking. Opposition parties are not speaking because they think that by raising the issue of Hindus, victimization of Hindus, they will annoy Muslims. And they think Muslim is their vote bank. I mean, it is such a funny situation that nobody is speaking in favor of Hindus. And what United Nations can do, United Nations has given a statement, but United Nations cannot interfere. But I think I will go by only one voice which has raised which has made a bold statement, which is Dr. SUBRAMANIAN SWAMY, and who has said, even before the violence began few months ago, Sheikh Hasina should have invited India to safeguard her interests, which she did not. That was her mistake. But even if she made a mistake, the Modi government should have made a proactive step by saying that we are going to protect the Hindu minority in Bangladesh, and therefore we are directly going to control and interfere the violence which is sponsored by some other country. Now, only thing is, nobody knows whether China or US or both were part of it, and therefore Modi did not want to annoy either United States or China. And we all know the Indian policy. The second part of our title today, the issue is India policy. Do we have a policy in such issues? And Dr. Swamy, you have very rightly exposed the policy of the stand of the Narendra Modi government. They have not taken a stand where they should have taken a stand. And this is what my observation is, that Modi should have acted 3 months ago when the violence and there were symptoms, indications that Hasina government will be attacked, and Modi should have taken a proactive statement and gone. And even now, it is not too late. We all know the kind of government which has been there. They call it temporary government, and Khalida Jia has been now let out from the jail, and naturally she's asking for a democratically elected government. In other words, they said Awami League should go and the alternative formation should be there, and that alternative formation is not going to be in favor of India as it was with the case of Sheikh Hasina.
Dr. Swamy, can you explain for the benefit of viewers? Some viewers want to learn also from the Hindi-speaking viewers. Yes, sir.
There's a demand on Hindi.
उसके ऊपर मेरे एक सवाल है.
मैं पहले ये कहना चाहता हूँ कि बांग्लादेश में कोई भी वहाँ प्रधानमंत्री या राष्ट्रपति बने, वो उनकी जो रुख होगी, उनकी जो मंशा होगी, वो वही होगी जो हिंदुस्तान कहती है उनको कि आप इन इन चीज़ों में हमारी जो हित है उसके साथ खिलवाड़ करोगे तो हम मिलिट्री को भेज देंगे और लड़ेंगे। कौन आएगा? और चाइना तो आ ही नहीं सकता, उसको तो बर्मा पास करके आना होगा और पिटेंगे वहाँ, और वहाँ कोई उनकी सहमति भी नहीं है। अब चाइना के बारे में बोलते रहते हैं, आप खुद डरते हैं तो अलग बात है, और मैं कहता हूँ कि चाइना ना लद्दाख में जीत सकती है, ना वो बांग्लादेश में जीत सकती है, ना वो कश्मीर में जीत सकती है। वो सिर्फ डरपोक लोगों के बीच में डराते रहेंगे, बस यही होगा और कुछ नहीं होगा। मैं आज यही कहता हूँ कि अच्छा सब हो गया, जो भी हो गया, अब क्या करना है? तो मैं कहता हूँ कि ये सारे बॉर्डर जो हैं वो उन बॉर्डर्स में हमारे कुल मिला करके दो बड़ी फोर्सेस खड़ी करें, उसमें एयरफोर्स के भी लोग उपस्थित रहें, उनकी हवाई जहाज रहें, और इनको बांग्लादेश को बता सकते हैं कि कभी भी हम अंदर घुस सकते हैं। ये एक आप परिस्थिति आप पैदा करिए, कोई आपको बुरा नहीं कह सकता, क्योंकि आप अपने जमीन पर, सीमा पर आप अपने लोगों को वहां रख रहे हैं और कह रहे हैं कि कोई भी बांग्लादेश से भाग के यहाँ नहीं आ सकेगा, और कोई शरण के लिए आएगा तो उसके लिए हम दूसरा व्यवस्था करेंगे। परंतु हम इसके लिए बैठे हैं कि एक और हिंदू को आप हाथ लगाओगे तो फिर हम अंदर आएंगे और तुम लोगों का टुकड़ा टुकड़ा करेंगे। ये मैं आपको कहता हूँ, कोई और आएगा नहीं इसमें, ना अमेरिका आएगा, ना पाकिस्तान आएगा, और पाकिस्तान तो वैसे भी चिढ़ता है बांग्लादेशियों से दिल से। तो मैं तो ये कोई नहीं आने वाला है, और हम फिर बांग्लादेश को जो जिस प्रकार से बनानी होगी उसको बना सकेंगे। ये हिम्मत होनी चाहिए। मोदी के पास कहीं भी उन्होंने हिम्मत नहीं दिखाई। मालदीव्स ने छोटा सा एक द्वीप कहा कि तुम्हारे सेना को उठा के ले जाओ, और उन्हें उठा के ले गए। हमने उस समय कहा था मत करो, उन्होंने कहा कि पहले तो भाषण दे रहे थे कि हम ये नहीं करेंगे वो करेंगे, परंतु मैं कहता हूं कि उन्होंने डर के मारे उन्होंने हमारी सेना को विड्रॉ किया। सेना के लोग जो आए थे, जो मुझे मद्रास में मिले थे, उन्होंने कहा कि हमारी इतनी बेइज्जती हुई हमने कभी नहीं देखा, सहन करना मुश्किल है, परंतु फिर आदेश मिला तो इसीलिए हम आ गए हैं। परंतु ये हमारा दिल दुखता है। ये इसका कोई सवाल कोई पूछने वाला नहीं है। मैं यही कहता हूँ कि चाइना ने 4,000 स्क्वायर किलोमीटर आपकी जमीन हड़प कर ली, जिसमें निर्विवादित थी, उसको आकर अंदर घुस के बैठ गए हैं। अब कोई नहीं उठा रहा है, और यहाँ सेंसरशिप लगा दी, और हमारे बार वाले भी डरे हुए हैं। तो ये है बीमारी है हमारे देश में नरेंद्र मोदी की नेतृत्व की। उस बीमारी से हमें मुक्त होना चाहिए, ये मैं कहना चाहूँ।
Dr. Swamy, there are 2-3 questions. Dr. Swamy, there are 2-3 questions for viewers.
Jagdish ji, if you don't mind, can I ask one question?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. डॉक्टर स्वामी, बहुत सारे लोग कहते हैं कि मोदी के साथ ये मेजॉरिटी नहीं है, बहुमत नहीं है, क्योंकि ये गठबंधन का कुछ, इट इज अ कोएलिशन गवर्नमेंट. इज दैट अ गुड इनफ रीजन फॉर दिस inaction by this government, Dr. Swamy?
जो बनी है गठबंधन, वो इसीलिए बनी क्योंकि पिछले 5 साल में ये नपुंसकता जो हमने दिखाई, उसमें लोगों ने वोट देना बंद कर दिया। और मैं कहता हूं कि आज तुम ठंडे बैठे रहोगे तो अगला अभी 3 इलेक्शंस आ रहे हैं। महाराष्ट्र एक मेरे ख्याल में हरियाणा और एक ईस्ट में भी एक है। ये 3 जगहों में हो रही है, तीनों को हारेंगे।
दिल्ली भी आएगा
और दिल्ली आएगा, दिल्ली में भी हारेंगे। तो मैं ये कहता हूं कि जितना आप अपने नपुंसकता दिखाएंगे, जितना आप अपने को डरपोक सिद्ध करेंगे, उतना लोग यानी जैसे जवाहरलाल नेहरू को 1962 के बाद उसकी हालत ये ऐसी खराब थी कि जवाहरलाल नेहरू बीमारी हो गए थे। तो इस प्रकार से हमारे देश में लोग गुस्से में हमारी पार्टी की तहस नहस कर देंगे। हमें पार्टी को बचाना है तो उसके लिए मोदी का त्याग करना है।
Dr. Swamy, I will take some of the viewers' question. One question
Yes.
from the viewer is, when India takes a tough stand with Bangladesh or threatens it from the border, will US retaliate or do sanctions against India? That is one of the viewers' views or question. What would you say on that?
US put sanctions in when we liberated Bangladesh. So what will the US do? What sanctions will they do? That we can't. We tighten our belt and live. And the US doesn't want us to be lost to them. There's a great hope. And now they are Indians, even in their candidates, the vice presidents of the of the Republicans. The vice president candidate's wife is an Indian, and similarly, the candidate for the Democrats is also half Indian. So I think Indians are in the United States, and the United States knows that. If the Americans think that just by threatening us we'll get scared, then they will threaten you. If they think that we could care less, and that we may even turn against the United States in security terms, then the United States will do a recount and will be with India. I don't think that the United States is going to be seriously involved in preventing India from going into Bangladesh.
Dr. Swamy, I'd just like to add one more thing. It's very easy. We can use the same formula America uses. We are preserving and spreading democracy. We can always say that and send the army in. I mean, that's what America does in every country that it enters, saying that they're preserving and making democracy and spread democracy. We will also spread some democracy by sending troops and by giving saving lives. I think that's what we should do.
Yeah, that's a very good propaganda thing. We're telling them that we want to restore democracy as we knew it, and as is known in the world, and therefore we are going in to establish democracy, like starting from what we did with Hitler and Mussolini, we are doing now with these people.
So basically, because India has conducted free and fair elections. So, go ahead.
Yes.
Dr. Swamy, another question from the viewer is that the new Prime Minister has taken over, who's an economist and who has shared the Nobel Prize. So what are your comments on that, as far as on the limited terms of Bangladesh economy? What are our views on that? This is one of our viewers have asked.
No, he's an ad hoc Prime Minister or President, whatever he's called. He's not going to stay there. There will be an election if the opposition candidate who's in jail comes out. She will be the leader, and they'll probably hold elections again. It's not a situation where somebody who's a Nobel laureate is planted. That's because if he's planted at this moment, there'll be no fight. Nobody will say that I've lost my position, because everybody knows that he's not a politician and he's not going to last long. So I don't think that we should take that. We must now think of the question of either restoring the their old parliament, which Hasina had won, and with or without Hasina, or we can have fresh elections and decide who should come.
Moreover, he
Okay,
is only
Ramesh.
in advisory role. He's not
Yeah,
really
that's right.
executive.
He's not formally been made as a parliament member or selected by the parliament. Yes, that's correct.
And we almost know that he has been chosen because Sheikh Hasina was against him, and he has been accused of swindling a lot of money in the name of the Grameen Bank that he has started.
Yes.
And
Yes.
for Grameen Bank concept only, he got the Nobel Economics Prize.
Yes.
Dr.
Well,
Swami, another viewer wants to
yes.
know why across the globe, where Muslims are in a majority, why does democracy doesn't work successfully? Why Muslims having a majority in any country, democracy is hardly efficiently working in those countries? Is Islam and democracy contradictory to one another?
Well, let me make a general comment. I would say that any theology which says my way or the highway, which Islam does, which means that if you are not a Muslim in a Muslim country, then you're likely to be reduced to tankhaya, which means a servant, or your head is cut off. It's there in the Quran. It's there in their the hadith and all their books where it's very explicitly stated, and we have seen it happen. So that is the ideology. So I don't think they have made any secret about it. The only issue is that they have three. The Muslims believe in three states. One is the Darul Islam, where the Muslims are in power, and there's no room for anybody except for menial work of another religion. Then there is Darul Harab, where the Muslims are in sufficient number, like 15%, 20%. And their job there is to go on creating situations by which more and more people join Muslims or become Muslims till it becomes a Muslim majority. This is what the theology I'm talking about. And thirdly is the Darul Islam, Darul Harab, Darul Ahad is a place where if the Muslims are in small numbers and the non-Muslims are united, like in New Zealand or in Australia and these places, there the advice of Muhammad himself is that behave pleasantly with them, accommodate with them, and don't show your true nature in such a place. So if in New Zealand, if you go and see all the children have to dress in frocks and go to school. The girls have to go in school. Boys have to go in pant and shirt. And no one is, they don't, there's no way anyone can say, I want to live the Muslim way of life. So that's Darul Ahad. And so the Muslims are very clear. The people who are not clear is we people. We are totally confused and we get mixed up with a whole lot of things. Should I be very clear that if you believe in democracy, then we will be democratic with you. If you don't believe in democracy, you can't enjoy the benefits of democracy and still believe that democracy should go. That is our weakness, not their weakness.
Dr. Swami, there one more piece. Surprisingly, US has not said anything about the democracy getting destroyed in Pakistan, but they're more concerned about democracy in Bangladesh, Dr. Swami. It's very ironic that the US has not commented anything about what's happening in Pakistan, but they're more concerned about something that when an election had happened. It is pretty surprising, and all these points very clearly, Dr. Swami. This has been in the works for more than a year. In fact, even Sheikh Hasina herself said, even in April of last year, saying that the US is working against us.
Well, see, the question of what the United States does its own interests, and they can say what they want, and we don't have to we must deal with our policy with the Americas on a bilateral. And we are a democratic country. No American in his sane mind who can say that we are not a democracy, or tell us what is real democracy. We know what real democracy. We are practicing it, and so what the United States does elsewhere, I don't think I'm not in a situation where I think we should be anti-United States. We just can tell them, mind your bloody business. That is the language they will understand, and they will probably mind their business if you are stiff enough to do it or execute it. So United States is all said and done as a democratic country. They have large number of Indians who are there in very high places and been prospering there, and we would like to have continuous relations with the United States. If they are misbehaving somewhere else, well, if we run into a conflict with them, yes, then we can take a stand. But if we are not running into a conflict with them, it's the local population which has to deal with this question.
Doctor, one last question from one of the viewers. What is the biggest threat to India over this unrest?
What is the biggest threat of?
No, what is the biggest
threat to India?
To India.
On this Bangladesh issue.
No, you see, then already we have a problem. The people are all infiltrating into India. Their job is to see that the percentage of Muslims in our country goes up, is now gone up to about 13 or 14%. They want it to go up to 30%. The only way they can do it is by coming in here and living here. No matter how hard it is to live here, they come to India, and they are then the mullahs preach to them what a great work they are doing for their religion. So that's the issue that affects us. If the Muslims live in their country without bothering us, I have no problem. But they don't do that. They have an ideology of Darul Islam, Darul Ahad, and Darul those three things that I told you about. Darul Haram. So these things are all the ways in which they make up their mind. You can see that. You can see that in Israel. What do the Israelis want? They never wanted any more part of their country. The Palestinians are something like 60% of Jordan. Nobody says, Palestinian has got a whole country called Jordan, and you go there, they are here, want a piece of Israel. I don't understand this mentality, but that's the way they are brought up, and we have to understand that.
I think we have had a very useful and discussion on the Bangladesh issue. Now it is time for Arvind Chaturvedi to have his closing remarks.
Ramesh has a question.
1 second. Yeah. Dr. Swamy, I know in spite of the topic that we have covered today, something else has blown up today. So maybe next week, right, Jagdish, even a lot of people have been asking questions. So viewers, please be patient. We understand. So we have to, we prepare for a program, and we do it. Always in politics, something or the other keeps happening. We will definitely get to that issue most likely next week. But please be patient. We have seen your comments. We acknowledge them. But please be patient, because we always like to stick to a topic. Go ahead, Arvindji.
Yeah. Thank you. This situation, as I said, is very grave. And as far as the Hindus in Bangladesh are concerned, nobody has come to their rescue, whether their own government, though Muhammad Yunus, when he took over, he said, now everything will be peaceful, and let us see and wait whether next 2-3 days or next week will bring peace and tranquility to Bangladeshi Hindus. And government of India, of course, has not been acting despite a lot of provocation within the country. I'm surprised even the Rashtriya Swayamsevak Sangh has not been very open in terms of defense of Hindu brothers in Bangladesh, and that is for the reason they have not put any pressure on Narendra Modi government either. Dr. Swamy, just one point you raised about the media also. Why is media silent? In fact, media, I would say, पूरा गुलाम है भारत सरकार का, और जो भारत सरकार अपना रुख लेगी वही रुख अधिकांश मीडिया, जिसको हम गोदी मीडिया कहते हैं, और यही कारण है that media is silent, totally silent. They're not raised, even they have not brought the pictures which are so ghastly crime. They have not shown on the national television or national press, and that is for this reason. We hope the Bangladesh government itself will do some treatment to such elements which have been harassing and doing the violent treatment to Hindus. And as far as policy is concerned, we hope India government will evolve a policy now. Even on Sheikh Hasina, it has been more than a week. We have not decided how long she will continue, and India government has not taken any stand. Whether अगर आप चाहते हो तो आप उनको शरण दे दो, आप खुलेआम बोल दो कि शेख हसीना ने भारत का साथ दिया है 15 वर्षों तक, हम शेख हसीना को शरण देना चाहते हैं, लेकिन भारत सरकार इस बात पर भी कोई रुख नहीं अपना रही है. हमें लगता है कि शायद आने वाले हफ्ते में, in next week, something will emerge and things will take a concrete shape, and therefore we should wait for some more time before any other step is taken. And this is, as Ramesh said, this is a issue which is evolving, and maybe by next time something else will, next week something else will also be seen on the surface. Thank you very much. Thank you, Dr. Swamy. Thanks, Ramesh Swamy and Jagdish Shetty ji. And thanks the technical team led by Ashish Shetty, Tejas Navalgul, Swaminathan, Gadgi Rakesh, Ishwar Iyer, Vishal Mehta, Ajesh Nair, and Gurdas Sethi. We will be meeting again next Sunday, 18th of August, 8 p.m. Indian Standard Time. Today we had technical difficulties. Sorry, viewers, that you were kept waiting because we had some technical difficulty in the beginning. So our program began late, and we hope these things will not repeat. And there are certain things which are not in our control. And today was such a situation. Thank you very much for bearing with us. We'll be meeting next Sunday, 18th August. Till then, Namaskar, Jai Hind, Jai Shri Ram.